I swear I can still hear the sound of that fabric ripping, that sharp, ugly tear that froze the entire hall. Before we continue, if you're watching for the first time, Elliot Stories welcomes you with a warm hug. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and tell us the city you're watching from. That night was supposed to be my redemption. I'd moved to London only 8 months earlier, transferred to a fancy secondary school in South Kensington, the kind with manicured lawns and students who smelled like old money and entitlement. My mum said it was a fresh start, a chance to rise above the gossip that had followed us from Birmingham. I didn't argue, I just wanted to disappear into the background. But when I walked into the prom that evening, every head turned, not because I was the new girl anymore, but because of the white gown I'd spent 2 months saving for. It wasn't expensive, but it looked expensive. Smooth satin, a low neckline, and a slit that gave me confidence I hadn't felt in years. I smiled when I saw the fairy lights dripping from the ceiling like melted stars, and for a second, I actually believed this would be my night. Until he decided to ruin it. Ethan. Captain of the rugby team. Blonde, blue-eyed, loud. The kind of boy teachers forgave for everything because his dad sponsored the new gym equipment. He and his crew had mocked me since I arrived. They called me Rocky because someone saw me shadowboxing behind the PE block one day. What they didn't know was that boxing wasn't a hobby. It was survival. So when I walked past their table that night, I heard one of them whisper, "Oi, lads, look who's pretending she's royalty." I ignored it. I'd learnt silence hurts bullies more than words. But Ethan couldn't leave it at that. As I reached the dance floor, he grabbed the train of my gown and yanked it, hard. The sound echoed across the hall. Gasps. Laughter. A camera flash. I froze. My heart hammered so loud I could feel it in my throat. My gown tore at the seam, exposing my thigh. Every instinct screamed hit him, but I didn't. Not yet. The teachers were too far. My friends, if you could call them that, pretended not to see. Even the DJ turned the music down. I felt naked, not because of the dress, but because of the humiliation. Then Ethan smirked and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Didn't know they let boxers into prom. Thought you'd be more at home in a ring than a gown." That broke something inside me. But instead of crying, I smiled. I looked him dead in the eye and said quietly, "You've got no idea what you've just started." He laughed. Everyone laughed. But I meant every word. That was the night everything changed. The next morning, the video was everywhere. Someone had posted it on Snapchat, and by the time I walked into school Monday morning, it had been shared on TikTok, titled, "Rocky Gets Ripped." Thousands of views. Hundreds of comments. Serves her right. Who wears white to prom anyway? She's probably loving the attention. I wasn't. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror without hearing that laughter again. Mum noticed. She asked why my appetite was gone, why I'd stopped going to boxing training at the community center. I told her I was fine. I wasn't. The worst part. My coach, Mr. Adedeji, the only person who'd ever believed in me, called to say I'd been selected for the National Youth Championship trials. That should have been good news, right? But I felt too broken to care. Then something unexpected happened. One afternoon, as I was leaving school, someone tapped my shoulder. It was Liam, the quiet boy from my media class, pale, freckled, always sketching something. He hesitated, holding out his phone. I recorded what happened. I think you should see this." I frowned. "Everyone's seen it." "Not this version," he said. He played the clip. Same scene, me walking, Ethan pulling the gown, but this time, Liam had filmed it from a different angle. The laughter cut off halfway because Ethan's hand had slipped, and when you slowed it down, you could see his face twist, not in confidence but fear. "Look at his eyes," Liam said. "He knew you'd hit him. He knew you could." That was when I remembered something. I wasn't powerless. I went home that night, pulled my old gloves out from under the bed, and slipped them on. The smell of leather and sweat brought memories flooding back. The gym in Birmingham, the sound of skipping ropes slapping the floor, my dad's voice before he left, "Never let them see you break, Amma." The next day, I walked into the PE office and asked Coach Green for permission to start a boxing awareness club. He raised an eyebrow. "You think people here would be interested in boxing?" "No," I said, "but they're very interested in me. Let's use that." He chuckled but agreed. 2 weeks later, the club launched. Ethan and his friends laughed when they saw the poster, "Learn to box with Amma." But then a few girls signed up. Then more. Then even a couple of the rugby lads. Word spread. And suddenly, the girl they'd mocked became the one everyone wanted to train with. But just as things were turning around, I found something that made my blood run cold. A message popped up on my school email from an anonymous account. "Quit the club, or we'll leak the rest of the video." I froze. The rest. I confronted Liam, thinking maybe he'd edited something. He swore he hadn't. So what was the rest? That night, I got my answer. Someone slipped a USB stick into my locker. I plugged it into my laptop, and my heart dropped. It was security footage from the gym storage room, the night before prom. Ethan and 2 of his mates were there, holding my dress, cutting a slit into it while laughing. They'd planned it. The humiliation wasn't random. And now I had proof. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the footage over and over, anger burning hotter each time. But I also knew, one wrong move, and I'd be the one painted as aggressive. It always worked that way. So I decided to fight smart. The next day, I showed the video to Headmistress Patel. She watched in silence, hands folded. When it ended, she sighed deeply. "This is serious, Amma. We'll take disciplinary action immediately." But I stopped her. "No, not yet. Let me handle this my way, just for one day." She hesitated, then nodded. That Friday, the school hosted its annual charity sports day, a massive event with parents, sponsors, and local reporters. I volunteered to do a boxing demonstration with a few members from my club. The gym was packed. Cameras flashed. Even Ethan sat in the front row, pretending to be bored. I stepped into the ring. The gloves felt heavier than usual. I took a deep breath. "Before we begin," I said into the mic, "I want to show everyone why I started this club." The big screen flickered on. For a second, there was confusion. Then, the footage. Ethan and his mates cutting my gown, laughing. Gasps filled the hall. Teachers shouted. Ethan's face went white. He lunged forward, shouting, "You can't show that. That's illegal." But it was too late. Everyone had seen. I looked at him calmly and said, "Funny how you only care about rules when they protect you." The crowd erupted, some in shock, some in applause. I raised my gloves, turned to the students, and said, "This is what bullying looks like. It's not harmless. It's humiliation. And it ends today." When I finished the demonstration, Ethan was escorted out. The school suspended him and his friends. But the real victory wasn't their punishment. It was the quiet after, the respect in people's eyes when they looked at me, the whispers that changed from mockery to admiration. Liam uploaded a short documentary about the whole thing, The Girl Who Fought Back. It went viral. Within a week, local news picked it up. And me. I went on to win silver at the National Youth Championship. But medals weren't the point. The point was that I'd taken back my power, not by throwing punches, but by refusing to stay silent. Months later, Ethan's mother wrote to my mum, an apology. Apparently, Ethan had been expelled. I didn't gloat. I just hoped he'd learn what real strength looks like. Now, whenever I walk past the school's gym, I see a poster on the wall. "Be strong, not cruel," inspired by Amma. It makes me smile. Because behind that poster is a truth I learnt the hard way. The world will try to tear you down, laugh at your scars, and make you doubt your worth. But sometimes, the best revenge is to rise higher than they ever dreamed you could. Moral lesson. No matter where you come from or how people see you, never let their cruelty define your strength. Your pain can be the fire that refines you, not the weight that breaks you. This story isn't just about a girl who boxed her way out of humiliation. It's about every person who's ever been laughed at, overlooked, or underestimated. And if that's you tonight, remember this: you are not weak for walking through fire. You are powerful for surviving it. Speech balloons, share this story if it touched you, and tell us in the comments, what would you have done in Alma's place? And as always, this is Elliot Stories, reminding you, your scars are proof that you fought and won.